Pick a card, signs and synchronicities. Please like, share, comment, and subscribe. And I'll see you at your reading. Hi, friends. My name is Gracelle with Psychic MD, and I'm here to do your reading. As you can see, I've already chosen the cards. I actually shuffled, asked questions. I haven't looked because otherwise my brain gets bored and I don't like retelling a story, even if I just peek at something. So I didn't do that. But as you can see here, this is going to be pile number 1 with this cupcake. Looks very light tasting, maybe. I don't know. Pile number 2, you're going to be the mocha cafe latte. And pile number 3, you're going to be the super pink one. Almost looks like a brain. And I'm going to go ahead and light the intention for this reading. If you're new to my channel, welcome, welcome. If you're a repeat offender, thank you so much for sticking by. And here we go. I love these little wish papers. I don't know why. They're super cool. Make your choice, and I will see you at your pile. Hi, pile number 1. My name is Gracelle with Psychic MD, and we're going to be looking today at signs and synchronicities. So if you've been curious about the signs that you've been personally seeing, then this reading is for you. I already pre-shuffled and pulled out some cards. The first question we're going to be looking at is what you could be seeing and noticing. Afterwards, we're going to look at what it means, and that's going to be unique to each of you, of course. And then finally, how is that applicable in the world? How can you apply it, if I can even speak today? Or best course of action, or anything else that may come up. So for pile number 1, oh, wow, that's so cool. You could be seeing sunflowers. You could be observing the sun, if you dare look into this fierce light bulb color anymore. Let me get those. I'm going to get my ghetto stands. Okay, hang on one second. One moment, please. I'm going to get my ghetto stands to help us along here. So you could be noticing more than you typically would. Let's say like flowers at the grocery store or flower shops, or things in magazines, or art that depicts certain flowers, such as this beautiful, I'm like, what is it called? It's not a marigold. I just called it. Good grief. It's going to be one of those days, is it? Sunflower. Pile number 1, you could also be noticing people have intense eyes lately. They could be looking directly at you, almost like you know the secret to the world, or you yourself know the secret to what it is that you're trying to even understand or unravel. Whatever mystery, whatever journey you're on, whatever you're trying to figure out, you could have people looking at you intently for answers even. Also, I feel like there's something to do with color right here, or even like water play, anything that looks different. Water's being referenced here, even though this is a desert, she's in a bathing suit. You could be noticing lizards and geckos and all form of life like that. And I'm going to say a lot of that has to do with even shedding skin, and also major transformations, and sometimes transformations that aren't even great, okay? Transformations that don't look fun, or that look maybe painful. And I'll give you like an example. So I've been having, I'm like, TMI, just for my channel. So I've been having like some skin issues lately, and it's kind of a trip because I've never really had that before, other than when I was a teenager, really. But I've been noticing my skin has been like really dry and flaky, and I've had like this bout with rosacea that's been really, I know TMI, sorry, but this is an example. And I'm kind of like, all right, I know something's going on with my system, and I've looked at different holistic things to take care of it and whatnot. But I also feel like it's very similar to this. It's kind of like she's dressed like a pinup, but her face is all kind of out of whack. So maybe your hormones are out of balance, such as mine are. Maybe perhaps you do like polka dots. Maybe you like to wear bathing suits. Maybe perhaps you actually have like a chameleon at home, or you have geckos, or that's like your favorite pet. You're starting to know some around, or your everyday lizard, things like that. And maybe you're noticing doves or panthers or black cats, things like that. And maybe you could notice also like people, let's say you go to a grocery store or something like that, and people are dressed up a little bit different. And you're kind of like, what's going on with that? But people have on like dresses like for foursquaring and things like that for dancing. So that is a possibility. And maybe perhaps you're looking at, well, I mean, this whole deck depicts the jungle pretty much, but it's like a modern jungle. Maybe you're starting to see snakes, maybe you're starting to see compasses, or even the Siberian lion, white lions, anything like that. There's some winged figures over here as well as your star. I love stars as well. Anyone who knows me knows that. So maybe these are things that you're starting to see, even like the rays, the sun's rays. You could be kind of looking at that and observing your own shadow or the shadow of other people around you. And this all has special meaning. And I feel like one thing that Spirit wants to reassure you that is that regardless of what it is that you're seeing, you could be feeling like your transformation or whatever is going on in your life perhaps right now isn't like the prettiest, right? But to maintain a positive, optimistic attitude, that is like one of the advice things that I could tell you right here. And especially has to do with like what it is that you are speaking. And even the flames started dancing. I mean, there's no AC, there's no fan here. So the flames started dancing. I'm just taking that as a confirmation. And I'm going to say that currently you're evaluating a lot of things. And what you could be seeing with these sun's rays is maybe perhaps you literally need to get some more sun. You need to spend a little bit more time in sunlight in order to kind of offset, you know, whatever pattern or weather pattern, or even your mindset could be improved by getting a little bit of sun. With the green and the growth right here, I'm looking at the tiger, and I think that she's looking towards the right, the temperance. And I feel like you could be looking at how to balance your life, how to balance your emotions, how to maybe gracefully balance things and not be so out of kilter. The temperance card always speaks to me a little bit about tempering your drinking or eating habits. Could be your spending habits, all of that as well. But I feel like I see nothing but like a lot of grace here. And maybe that's what this is leading to, is just noticing in the small things that you're going to start noticing is a lot of synchronicities. For example, these sun's rays are echoed here. So I think the sun, maybe you're living in a sunny place, or you're drawn to go to a sunny place, or maybe you're looking to go on a holiday or a vacation, right? But I'm starting to think that what you're noticing isn't a lot of like, oh my goodness, I'm getting recurring 444s. Maybe you're seeing a lot of ones. Maybe you're seeing 1910. Maybe you're seeing a lot of fives because this reduces to number 5. Numbers in sync with different things. Like maybe you find 5 feathers and things like that. And so you really, your advice is also to take a look at the numbers that you are noticing if you are a numbers person, and start looking those up. You can look up like angel numbers, and that will help you along your way. That'll give you like confirmation and also validation. But even just kind of reducing the numbers, number 5 to me always stands for a lot of changes. And indeed, this little critter right here seems to be undergoing a lot of changes, right? Even with the compass, maybe there might be a decision that you need to really think about that involves some change in how you moderate your life, how you gauge your life, and the moderation of other people around you. What else do we need to know? The catalyst, okay? So we're seeing some winged friends right here, not uncommon, but perhaps this is stating that if you're starting to see butterfly or any winged creatures or feathers and things of that nature, It is a little bit, well, a lot of it having to do with your speech and how you're speaking, what you need to speak. And with the catalyst, it says you're someone that evokes progress and change in people, making them aware that something could be better, leaving them forever changed. But I don't think that you can do it in silence. And maybe perhaps this is stating that you've been silent for a long time, and that's what's evolving is a need for moderation, how you speak, what you speak, and that can serve for a catalyst for other people. Also reassuring you that what it is that you have to speak on is definitely powerful and important, because I'm looking at the blue here and the blue here with a compass. I heard moral compass, so maybe you're starting to speak a little bit more about your own morality or what you believe in or what is changing in your life or how it is that you're able to achieve a certain balance that perhaps other people are looking towards. The next card I have, as far as what this means, is self-reliance. You're an independent, free spirit who's here to learn and teach love and freedom, enabling others to experience and master self-love and independence. And maybe perhaps like intuitively, I put it on this side right here. I have no idea how I'm going to get all these cards on board. I guess just like this. But yeah, so this talks about self-love, but I feel like there's moderation, and maybe moderation how much you spend on yourself, maybe moderation on like what you speak and how you speak it. And it is speaking like your truth is a form of self-love, and that's part of your navigational system. And even this tiger is wearing a blue dress, but everything is like forward focused and future focused. So I feel like even when, if you have a tub and if you go swimming or if you get in the tub, things like that, you can actually kind of zen out. And it's a little bit similar to when you submerge your ears in water and you don't really hear a lot if there's no one around you swimming. And all of a sudden, like, it's like the decibels just kind of get compressed and things get a little bit quiet and they feel kind of peaceful. I don't know, the hearing is just a little bit different right there. And there's something to be said about like she is facing towards the sun. And once again, I feel like if this is lending light, it's almost like light is shining on what it is that you need to speak. Light is shining on your face as well. And I feel like I just heard reputation. So this is going to have to do with how you're perceived. Your reputation is due to elevate at this point in time. And a lot of the signs that you are seeing, including things like the stars, and this could be in like magazine form, or somebody brings you a cupcake with a star, or anything that really draws your attention. You could find some kind of a special coin that has a star, or you could be like somebody could be part of the sheriff's department. I don't know. That has a star like that. There's a new sheriff in town, right? And I'm going to say that this is going to lend to it, like how you speak. It's going to give you warmth, but it's also going to provide navigational system for other people in your life. And the freedom and the beauty is in just basking in the glory of being free and speaking your truth. Okay, the Six of Water right here, this is what it means also. So water is going to be very, very powerful. Like, keep getting that, and maybe perhaps you need to drink a little bit more water in order to bring things in a balance. But also I feel like there could be some nostalgia here. The Six of Water, Six of Cups is always about nostalgia. And maybe perhaps you're speaking your truth about that. But it seems like she's like caught between a rock and a hard place, right? And with her image, almost like inverted, she looks definitely different with a reflection of the water, but they're water lilies. And so the name Lily could be important, but you could also be seeing water lilies or be looking at art that has lilies on it. And you could be actually really kind of nostalgic or feeling a little bit like you're wishing for the good old times and things like that. And things could be a little bit, I'm looking at these, I don't know, dots, they look like pearls. You have a lot of pearls of wisdom to offer on things that are like very important to you, very profound, very deep, because that pond doesn't really look necessarily shallow to me. And all these things are just really pointing to the fact that you are going to start speaking your truth. That is going to be a major change in your life. And I feel like this is coming from a place of like love, of self-love as well, because speaking your truth is a form of self-love. And I feel like those people that want to silence you or that want you to kind of toe the line or not speak on things, and you know, recently had someone tell me, it's like, well, why do we even talk about things like that? And I was a little bit shocked. But I just started thinking, I'm kind of like, what do you mean? I mean, people talk about what's on their heart usually. So I guess that's all I have to say about that, right? So make sure that your speech is filled with things that are, I guess, edifying, that are going to be helpful, hopeful. And also, this is to reassure you that whatever you speak on is smiled upon by the heavens, the God, Spirit, your higher self, whatever it is that that you call it, whatever you want to call it. I feel like also you're coming into full circle about something, but also with this compass, I can't help but feel like this looks like a magnifying glass almost. Even though it's balanced on both sides, it looks to me almost like a lupa, like a magnifying glass. So I feel like this is stating that, yeah, you're kind of sitting pretty right now, and that you can really speak on things because you have a lot of knowledge with it. And once again, you have a lot of grace, but we need that in this world. And that's part of your mission. And that's part of like the signs and synchronicities that you are here to really observe and notice, and everything that's like kind of pushing you towards that. When you start looking at signs, for example, and you see, for like, just one idea is that let's say somebody has duct tape over their mouth and it's kind of like a meme, or it's on a billboard, or it's talking about like S trafficking or whatever, and you're kind of moved and it just latches onto your mind. And then you notice something else that has to do with a similar theme or a similar color, and you start noticing them together, then that is definitely your sign that this is things that maybe perhaps you have a history about, or something that you can speak on. Yeah. So I feel like even in that you're very mystical. I feel like anything that you've undergone in your life, you really have deep thought about. And I'm looking at her eyebrows here, and they almost make like a heart. So I feel like you're very heart-centered, yes, but also you think a lot about what is in your heart. And I know that sounds like really weird to say, but I think it's important to mention because a lot of people out there are thinking about, like the next meal, their next like weekend, their next date, their next, I heard the next F up. I don't know if maybe you've been berated, or do you mean in some way, shape, or form? But you could have like negative tapes in your mind that need to be resolved and renounced, basically. You could be noticing a lot of blues, or you yourself are drawn to yellows and blues, yellow for your solar plexus and blue for your throat chakra, right? But also you're very, very mystical. You're connected to the other side, to spirit, to source, your higher self. So something very magical about you, which gives the impression that you're very much in your power. And guess what? You are. But I feel like she's got like a faraway look. She's almost like one foot in this world and one foot in the other realm. And this lady is definitely going completely within. This lady appears to be going within and listening to her own. I mean, I feel like you're a great listener. You could be clairaudient. And it's great to listen. None of their mouths are really open. They're deep in thought, all of them, now that I look at it. And I feel like that time for deep in thought is pretty much ended or ending, and you will see the light of day. This deep in thoughtness, this keeping it to yourself, this, I'm hearing enforced silence, which that could be a thing as well. And you guys be careful. And, my readings, you use them as you see fit, and they are to be used by you, not for you to manipulate your life around any reading anyways. But I feel like you're going to start speaking up and speaking out more, and it has to do with something a lot bigger. I think that you'll be surprised at the kind of voice that you lend into the world, and you'll be shocked at how well you are received as well. So I'm hoping that that makes sense. Let's get one of these cards out, and I'm sorry if it seemed all over the place. I definitely feel like you were an observer and absorber. Oh, yeah, look. So have faith that, look, all of these, I feel like these are gifts being given to you. And even the amethyst right here. And I think that you're going to be really surprised. You have a lot of support on the other side. Once again, with the wings right here, the wings of peace. even goblets and things like that. But I feel like you have spirits and entities around that will really support and give you the fortitude that you need to move forward. Just make sure that you're asking for guided protection, for wisdom before you progress in any endeavor. And I feel like you're going to see it quickly, and it will guide you. I feel like also you could be given, like with this lady touching your belly, it looks like the world. I feel like you're like going to start realizing and understanding what an incredible gift and what a blessing you are into this world, and that you are a divine cupcake. And I say that. I just happen to look over at the cupcake and I'm like, that's so cute. You're a divine cupcake. I feel like Spirit wanted me to say that about you. You're a divine cupcake, and you've undergone so many different things that with the card beneath this one, it's all about like the multitude of colors. Yet we're getting rid of your insecurity in order for you to speak your truth. And that's going to help release your heart chakra, okay? Because this heart is bound by insecurity and doubt and fear, which is just a tool to really manipulate you into not speaking your truth and to maintaining your silence. I feel like you could be someone who is known for being deep in thought and for being very mysterious, by the way. People don't really quite understand what it is that you're thinking about. But this is definitely your destiny. I feel like you've had your positive and negative polarities, and they've kind of joined up. And I think that you really quite understand a lot about life and about yourself, and about integration, and also just about respect for spirituality and higher beings, and even life in general, and what you are meant to do in this life and in this world. And I feel like I see you getting even light codes and things like that. So you could be seeing like numbers, and even when you close your eyes, you could be seeing like colors or circles. A lot of circles are being depicted, even with a sunflower right here. Different kinds of flowers. It could be a thing with you. You could be dreaming about water, or really be drawn to go visit the water, or even looking at the sky and looking at how similar it is to water. So all of those things are just validation that you are on the right path for you. So that's what I have for you. I hope this made sense. If it did, leave me a note in the comments if you feel like it. If not, I'll see you at your next reading. Thank you so much, and namaste. Hi, Pile 2. My name is Crystal with Psychic MD. If you missed it, still the same if you did not. If you chose pile number 2, then this message is for you. And you chose this really cute little coffee mug. I forgot to light it before I started, so here we are lighting it. You chose the mocha, Cafe Mocha, and I decided to go ahead and let this guy burn in the background. So I already pre-selected some cards. I have not looked at them as of yet, and the first 3 are going to be what you could be seeing and noticing. Pile number 2, you could be noticing some wands, huh? That's interesting. So it makes me think, because I kind of live in the woods, and it makes me think of a lot of like the random branches and stuff that I find around my car in front of it. And some of them are like really big and interesting, because I've not encountered that anywhere else, especially when we have like really windy times. Okay, so you could be seeing the devil. You could be seeing images of the devil, and hang in there with me. We'll talk more about this. You could be seeing, especially on TV, things like that, like people wearing blazers, or people wearing red plaid a little bit. You could be noticing some cages, some bird cages and things like that. Or even like, let's say you're scrolling on IG and things like that. You could be noticing that you're drawn to canyons and red earth and things like that. And maybe you're like looking at like road trips, and people that are doing like the whole van life, or moving abroad, or traveling. Okay, you could be seeing a lot of signs and synchronicities with travel. For example, a sign would be, like you start looking at promotions for visas and travel and things like that, or you have like patients or clients or whatever coming around talking about how they have to renew their visa or take their visa picture and things like that, how they got their passport. in all things like that, and that could kind of spark, it's like a sign, but a synchronicity would be also like having a family member saying, hey, you know, I'm going to, I don't know, Spain or Italy or wherever, and I was looking for a +1 and things like that. So any of those could have merit, but also you could be looking at like dolls or old school dolls and figures and seeing them and kind of wondering, why is this reoccurring? It could be on your feed, any of the social medias. You could be looking at, that looks like a duck, but for a moment it looked like the ostrich. The ostrich is very distinct in this deck, so that looks like a duck. You could be seeing ducks and duck eggs or even quail eggs, feathers for sure. You could be seeing bow ties and kind of old school attire. You could be seeing stars. Like I bought I think it was like a button that basically said it was like new sheriff in town or something like that. I thought it was really cute. But you could be drawn to like buttons or stars or old school, even Americana. I'm hearing some of that art. You could be drawn to giraffes. That looks a little bit like a giraffe's hand, if a giraffe had a hand, right? So let's see. And what could this mean? This could mean, okay, telepathy. Your gift of telepathy is strong, with the ability to read minds, project thoughts into the minds of others, and understand your own body and mind as well as others. Yeah, so you could be catching like brainwaves. You could be catching people's minds when they're thinking about you or thinking of you, anything that has to do with that. And I feel like you have a keen gift with that. And it is no coincidence that you're like, oh my gosh, I was just thinking about you the other day, that kind of a thing. Your gaze could be hypnotic. Your third eye could be awakened or woken up or waking up. You could be experiencing, some of you guys are getting really affiliated with like snakes. I'm just seeing a centipede in my mind's eye, and then I'm feeling like Kundalini rising, that kind of energy. So you could be looking into that. Also, some of you guys are looking into, you're starting to notice like signs and synchronicities with like yoga poses and or the Kama Sutra. I probably pronounced that wrong, but I think you get the gist. So I'm noticing things like that. Also, even, I'm not sure what that fabric is called, but that see-through fabric. And in fact, my aunt made me once upon a time a corsage. She used to make these really cool corsages for her kids, and I got to have one, and that was really neat. So Tool, is it called Tool? I'm not really sure. So the Page of Fire, this is a Page of Wands in the typical original tarot, okay? So we have the moon right here coming out, and the fire typically, yeah, and here's a tiger. You could have a tie to pile number 1 as well, and we have a butterfly as well. So I feel like you could, even this looks like a long arm, almost like a robotic arm. You could be looking into different things like robotics. You could be studying about robots or looking into different things that, you know, like memes and reels of robots. For example, I saw a reel yesterday with these this robot that was, you know, it was like a white robot, and it looked like it had the full body, and it was kind of sidestepping and dodging roosters that would try to peck at it and bother it. So I don't know if it was like deep fake or CGI or whatever you want to call it, but it looked a little kind of suspicious to me. But it was also amusing, and you could be like noticing things like that, and then all of a sudden somebody starts talking about robotics, or they work with robotics or AI, and then all of a sudden you're going like down the rabbit hole and things like that. So that could be something on the forefront of your mind as well. And I feel like you're very observant. So you could be somebody who's watching a lot of what AI has to offer and like the pros and cons, or you could be like suspicious of that. And that's perhaps why the devil is here. You could also be seeing like these diamonds. They look like old school diamond, vintage diamonds. That could be a thing for you as well. You could be really drawn to protect your energy at this point in time. And maybe you have a lot of things going on right now, but I feel like the signs and synchronicities are saying, hey, this is about a trip and about a journey and about you releasing yourself from all that is like entrapping you. And maybe part of that has to do with what you think of AI, for example, like using your phone too much or being on social media too much, and feeling like AI, you know, prompting all these things, and you waste a lot of time, or it's having an influence on your mental health, or it really has an effect on what you want to purchase or how you perceive yourself, things like that. Okay. I feel like it's a very fine balance of what you're trying to do. Like right here, I get balance, obviously, and he's even bouncing on an egg. So this is like a new birth, a new beginning. You could even be very fascinated with like spring ornaments, like quail eggs or eggs. I don't know. I'm seeing like a baby bird's nest and things like that. But this is stating that you're standing on a very new beginning. You're about to start a new beginning, a new trip. And telepathically, I feel like you are sending and receiving messages with someone regarding this new path that you're undergoing. And maybe perhaps this person is trying to keep you entrapped, because the door's open here for the man, but the woman is still trapped. And so maybe perhaps someone is really riveted on you, on what you're doing, on how your journey is going in life. And your zeal for life is evident right here. With the coffee thing, you could be somebody who also collects different pieces of pottery. You could collect, I think it's not called iridium. I was working with Oakley lenses earlier, so now I have their stuff in my brain. But uranium. Okay, you could collect pieces of uranium glassware, and that's the kind of glass that like glows. Yeah, you could be seeing foxes, or you could be drawn to fox spirit and have a lot of intuition about that as well. You could be seeking perfection in what you do, or maybe you're seeking a perfect path and what it is. And I feel like you could be drawn to the wolf family or like a pack of wolves. You could also be perceived as a lone wolf. And I'm going to say that maybe perhaps some of the signs and synchronicities that you are seeing, because she's like breathing life. This is like what I want. I want perfection. And, you know, we can get obsessed with perfection or what that looks like. And within this girl, there is another girl here. So hopefully you can see it. This is her face lifted up and the hair. And then this is, of course, the first girl's face. So I feel like you could be shedding of your skin or exposing more of yourself, your true persona, your true personality. And with the perfection thing, it's like, I feel like Spirit's saying you are perfect. This is perfection. And you don't have to wait to be a slave to someone else to say, hey, that you're okay. You could be who you want to be, because you are created perfect. I'm going to say that with this thing here, that the wolves right here, you could feel like a lone wolf. You could be somebody very much like myself, kind of keeping things to yourself. You do things on your own. You don't really rely on anybody. You just kind of try to navigate life on your own. You could be seen as a lone wolf. I remember once upon a time, a neighbor called me, because I went shooting by myself, and she's like, well, aren't you the lone wolf? And I was so offended. Like, well, aren't you a nosy beast? No, I'm just kidding. But instincts. So I feel like if you start seeing like wolves or even coyotes, foxes, things like that, or even dogs, right? White dogs, Alaskan dogs. I'm not too sure. I feel like that's just confirmation that this is where you're headed. You're going to have community. It's not going to be about being solitary anymore. And that will feel like perfection as well. I feel like there's something in you that maybe perhaps you feel like you have to be perfect before you're accepted by community. And perhaps that's what's held you back as well. Another thing that you could be seeing is a lot of green. Now, green is an interesting color for me because in most cases, I think of green and I think of heart chakra, I think growth and things like that. But you could be seeing green, like green attire, or somebody having a green journal or green handbag, green shoes, or a green sweater, whatever it is. And it could make you think of something. So I'm just going to say, notice how you feel when you see whatever the green is that captivates your attention. Because it's not going to be you just walking by and the carpet has, you know, by happenstance is green and you're like, okay, whatever. It's going to kind of rivet you and you're like, what the heck? That carpet is really green. That's kind of weird. And so you're going to make note of that. I'm going to say, like, right now, you definitely have a lot of people maybe upset with you. There is a lot of gossip. It could have to do with your home, your future. There is like a chess piece that appears right here, and she's got a paintbrush. So this could be maybe perhaps somebody trying to really manipulate and be very similar to the devil right here. They want to paint your life according to, or they have a way of doing things. They want to checkmate you. They're utilizing other people, maybe turning people against you and things like that. If you've been having that feeling, then you are 100% correct. I'm going to say that. But, you know, in the end, it doesn't matter because this person, I feel like, is known for gossip and then known for treachery. I'm looking at the flower right here, but it almost looks like a bullet wound. And I feel like that is just a message for you to notice, you know, when you notice things like that, to really have faith and believe that people, you know, yeah, birds of a feather stick together, meaning that you're like-minded with other people that you are around. Typically, you're like the 5 people that you hang out with the most, including coworkers. But also, people are recognized by their behavior, their actions, and people's reputation precedes them. So if you have someone in the thick of gossip and talking about you, you know, I feel like let it run its course, and I wouldn't really worry about it overtly. There's always troublemakers, you know, that don't really have a life, that have to really, I don't know, look for ways to cause problems and trouble, and it's just not worth it. Now, I also feel like you could be also looking at those cages and looking at cages a little bit differently. You could be really looking at cages and then thinking about like what freedom means. Freedom means. And 7 of air, once again, this talks about doing things on your own. Freedom to you can mean, because that's what I'm getting, is a symbol of freedom. It could be travel. It could be things happening quickly. It could be communicating however and whichever way that you want. It could be even going to far off places like Japan or Asia. This could even be taking a balloon ride, hot air balloon, things like that. But you have like the geese right here, almost a little bit like Mother Goose. And you have some doves of peace. I feel like, you know, you've disguised yourself. She's got a pointy nose in order to kind of fit in with other people. But I feel like with these signs and synchronicities, you are perfection. You don't need to worry about fitting in. You also don't need to worry about people who are trying to control and drop a facade or speak ill of you. I feel like people also know your reputation. And, you know, it's at some point, it's got to be that we're bigger and better than our high school days, right? Where it was just a lot of drama and gossip. But honestly, sometimes it doesn't matter how old you are. It just seems to be that we're surrounded by the same garbage. So I feel like the less attention you give it, the more that you are going to be moving away from that. Now, when I think of instinct and I think of the 7 of wands, 7 of swords right here, you know, this is the lone wolf. This is like doing things by themselves. I think that you're going to be going on a journey, and it is a beginning of a journey, but it is integration. It is also part of your destiny. I feel like that one came out in pile number 1 as well. So you could be seeing a lot of, I don't know, noticing a lot of things like Buddhas or spiritualists and people like that that are captivating your attention. You could also be looking at luminaries and having those pop up in your feed or in your life, or when you see the luminaries, you could get really, really riveted. Also, what are those called? I'm like, bamboo. You could also notice bamboo shoots, and for some reason, the right plant and things like that could give you a lot of peace, but can give you, I don't know, just something that you're riveted, because I feel you staring at something, staring and not being totally aware of why you're staring. Yeah, so there could be a celebration coming up, or somebody's birthday, or somebody gifts you something or reminds you of a birthday, and that could be a little bit bittersweet for you. I wonder why that would be. Let's see if we can get some information here about that. Pardon my loud sniff here. All right, for pile number 2, signs and synchronicities. I feel like you could be looking at those like billy goats and things like that in your area, or again on your feed, on television, wherever. And have hope and faith in yourself, because I did pull the faith card, but I put it back in the pile right here. But you definitely have like a dream. I feel like there is definitely travel. This is involving travel. This is where you're headed. This is a relocation. I heard relocation services, so maybe you're looking at relocation services. But with this, it's almost like you're standing outside of the picture. You're no longer being confined even by a, what would you call that? Like trim, or it's almost like picture perfect. It's like this devil or someone wants you to be exactly what they want you to be. And this feels like, but I'm cute and look at my new dress and look at my cute shoes, but I'm stepping out, 1 foot in the water and 1 foot out. You definitely have dreams that people gossip about, wishes, things in your solar plexus. You could be very different from other people, right? You could be very much like myself. And look, I keep getting the 7 of Swords. You do everything by yourself. I'm not laughing at you, but it's kind of funny. I'm like, that's how I feel. I'm like, everything I do, I do by myself. So you could have a lot of birds. Keeping an eye on you. Birds can be a thing, but I feel like birds, there might be a little bit of gossip, but I feel like that's calming down. You do have someone, maybe even from your past, with the home depicted here, maybe sisters, maybe mother, maybe grandmother, somebody who's older than you, or even older coworkers gossiping. But I feel like you also have people around who just observe what it is that you're doing, and they're like, you're trying to make moves in the dark. And I don't feel like it's, really sneaky necessarily, although he does have that bird cage right here. But this ostrich is like, I'm trying to be like a shadow in the night, and you guys are bugging me. So he wants to get away with... Coco, you went down? Hold on. One moment, please. Well, why don't you say so? Why don't you say... Don't drop. Hold on. There you go. There you go, love. There. So but they want to see your moves. And again, this is depicting, even because we keep getting that same message of like the lone wolf doing things by yourself. And you could be perceived as somebody who's kind of like shady, like you're always making moves, nobody knows what you're up to. But I feel like if you're doing things by yourself anyways, and you're listening to spirit and you're following your destiny, then pay no mind to anyone else. Yeah, I mean, we don't know if he's trying to sneak away or she, in order to let that bird out as well. Here we go. Coco has a lot to say about that. A lot to say, my dog does. Pile number 2, if you're liking this kind of reading, give me a like, share, comment, subscribe. Let's see. Yeah, travel. I'd be interested to know where you are traveling to. Ooh, look at you. Okay. Pile number 2, you are not one to be messed with. I'm looking at all the swirls behind right here. To me, that almost looks like water, but the way it's reflected, I feel a little bit more like sacred geometry. I feel waves, but also the magician. The magician's head is sheltered. There is a sun and a moon right here with the number 1. So again, new beginnings. The number 8 is prominent in your life. The number 4, definitely the number 7 is prominent as well, of course. Yeah, stepping out of what's expected of you. It's like everybody wants picture perfect. He's dressed nicely, and he's expected to color within the lines. I almost burned my magician right here. But I feel like you're not doing that. You're definitely not doing that. You're following your passions, and I feel like you could be having a certain passion come about soon. You could be getting glasses. You could wear glasses. But I feel like you could even have a beard, mustache. Love the beards. You have all the tools. You have everything that you need in order to be prosperous, in order to do... I feel like I'd like to know a little bit more about you. Like, what exactly are you trying to do? What are you manifesting right here? Because everything is leading you to travel. I'd like to know, like, why travel. 2 of Wands. Well, this is I need to pick, right? And even here, this is like a card within a card right here. and a road. So more travel. And this is a checkerboard road right here. Follow the yellow brick road, kind of. And you're like, well, will I really? Now she's got a lock right here and a key right here with the 2 of wands depicted. And this reminds me like the gas stations when they put them big old spoons and the key to the bathroom is there. I don't know. But I feel like you're having to make a choice, and it's going to be a big choice. And it's interesting because she's looking up at the lock and not necessarily the key, just a little bit enthralled with the lock. And it's almost like, well, I have the key to this. I've been there, done that. That's the past. I want to unlock the future. And what does the future have, for me? Maybe you're manifesting something that you've never done before. Maybe it has to do with like hay or being on farmland or farming or being a survivalist, or it could be, what is that? Oh my goodness, Crystal, use your words. Okay, it's not coming to my brain right now. Well, anyways, basically we're like canning and things like that. So you could be involved or attracted to a lot of those things. Yeah, but I see right now that you could be confused. You just need a little bit more balance, and you need to really focus on what it is that is drawing your attention. Because even here, she's got some red heels. I mean, some of you guys could be from Kansas. You could be drawn to Kansas, right? Like the Wizard of Oz could be something that is drawing your attention. But also like locks and keys could be a big thing that you are starting to notice. The color yellow, again, lights, light bulbs, like Edison light bulbs. I'm a little bit fascinated. Well, I have an OCD brain, but I'm fascinated with like Edison light bulbs, but also light bulbs that are like pink or green, and they just fascinate me. So you could be fascinated with lights, and I feel like that has everything to do with your new journey. So take note of those things. Maybe even play a little bit with your aura, your auric colors and things like that. That could be a thing. So that is what I have for you. If you're liking this kind of reading, please do give me a like, share, comment, subscribe. Let me know what you think, and I will see you at your next reading. Namaste. Hi, Pal 3. My name is Gracelle with Psychic MD, and I'm here to do your reading. Let's just get your cupcake lit. That sounds like... You guys could be my spicy pile, my innuendo, wordplay. Let's see where this goes. Pile number 3, signs and synchronicities. So I already pulled out some cards. I have not flipped them over as of yet. And I decided to go ahead and keep the little prop selections right here just because they're tiny candles. Let them burn, baby. What you could be seeing and noticing, you could be noticing iguanas or lizards, ball gowns. You could be noticing ponies or horses, show ponies, parade horses, police horses. This horse is trying to step out of the frame here. And cups. You could be noticing different kinds of goblets, or like, I really like to look, it sounds weird, but why stop now, right? Pottery, and that was nice. How glasses can be made. I follow this one content creator, and he does these skull mugs, and they're so beautiful. I mean, he just does a great job. So maybe you're like a mug collector, but all of a sudden I'm looking at the lamp, the genie lamp right here. You could be somebody who's noticing genie lamps or wish objects, kind of like worry stones and things like that. Anything that has to do with a little bit of fantasy. You could be into like different socks, unusual socks. You could like to wear unusual pants. Plaid. Oh, yeah. The 9 of Wands right here. You could like garter belts. You could like old school hose or flapper clothes. You could be noticing that in any sort of genre. You could be into history, or you could be a historian. You could like the way, you could be watching things like how things work. I don't even know why I'm getting that. I expected like butterflies and animals and things like that, but not necessarily what I'm getting so far. You could be into, you could be noticing like crystals and geodes and things like that and wondering what that means. I feel like a lot of that has to do with your, I'm hearing emotional vulnerability. So we're going to see where this goes with this. I feel like also you have been in a self-protective mode for quite some time as of right now. I feel like with the Knight of Wands right here, this is like messages and messenger. And this iguana is facing the sun. So that's all about passion. And maybe you've been protective about your passions, what you desire. Also, maybe we could like to drink a little, you know, no shame in that game. So we have the Illuminator, and this is what these signs mean thus far, okay? You could be noticing like sand, or even there's this thing where you put the silver ball in sand and it just does it automatically. And they make tables out of it. It's like some high-end stuff, and of course I'm in love with it and out of my budget, but I love looking at stuff like that. Or you could be looking at sands or pyramids. I even forgot what this little creature is called. But it says you radiate energy that lights up any room with great power to heal those around you and crack their hearts wide open. This gift can make people run from your light. Yeah. Boy, I feel that statement. So you could really have some energy that like repels people simply because you can crack open their hearts. And who wants their heart cracked open? I mean, obviously it's for the better. That's how seeds grow and they germinate, right? But sometimes seeds are really harder to get their outer surface a crack. Sometimes you can get a little nail file or do something special to help that outer shell crack a little bit faster so it can germinate. And I feel like people intuitively know that that is who you are. You are the great illuminator. And they could definitely run away from you. And this could make you feel self-protective, like you don't really trust people because not only do they run away from you, but I don't feel like sometimes you get treated very well. Let's just say that. Maybe I'm feeling gossip around. Yeah, I'm feeling that this causes people to want to fight. They want to fight you about religion, about what they believe in, your belief system. They want to bring the brass knuckles to the fight. This could be, it says you have the power to make the opposite sex fight for you, provoking jealousy in those that fall under your spell. So, you know, and that's very possible. You could be noticing that people, signs and synchronicities, people start like wanting to fight. They start wanting to fight, maybe even like challenge your knowledge about your spirituality, what spirituality is, or wanting to talk to you about things that are like nowhere on your radar, almost like wanting to provoke you. But I feel like some of that, because the Knight of Wands is here, I feel like some people do that because they think it's hot, okay? They want to get a rise out of you, no pun intended, and I feel like it's exciting for them to see you in this kind of energy. They like you feisty, okay? So that's one message that I'm getting for you. People can want to see like what kind of fight you have in you. Maybe like they're testing you. Self-love. You advocate a healthy lifestyle, taking good care of your body, mind, and spirit, teaching others to give love back to themselves. So nobody's perfect, right? But I feel like you definitely do your best. And this is part of maybe what you eliminate for other people, is that maybe people around you are not giving time and attention to themselves. And it serves only to deplete themselves, and they don't show up as their best self possible. And again, I'm being drawn to even this, it's like that metal in the back. It's almost like like what they make tin roofs out of. You could be noticing like tin roofs and things like that. For example, when you fly to Puerto Rico and you're landing, you fly over like a bunch of, you know, huts or tin roofs. And I think they're the coolest because when I grew up there, we had a little house in the back, and when it rained, I mean, it was the best sound in the whole wide world. So you could be noticing things like that with like a tin roof, or that could have special meaning to you. think there's a movie called Tin Cup that could have a meaning to you. On the self-love, don't think that you have to be perfect. This is mentioning everything about how you're, you promote and advocate on everything. And I've never really met anyone who's firing on all cylinders as far as taking care of their body, their mind, and their spirit. And I personally am definitely out of balance with that. So I tend to, do all of like one thing, which is mostly like spirit. And then the rest, it's a little bit of a gamble or kind of a, I don't know, wild card, unfortunately. But that could be something for you. Also, you could be noticing like maybe you're studying a lot of art. I get like abstract art and things like that. Or you could be looking at a lot of pictures that have a lot of mist in them, or even pictures like this where it's literally like a milk bath and she's submerged. One of the photo shoots I did once upon a time actually was a milk shoot like that. It was pretty cool. So that could be a thing for you. Maybe you are a model. Maybe you have modeled or you would like to model, or maybe do self-portrait. Same, right? I feel like people could give you like the side glance quite a bit. And then with the Five of Water, this has to do with like loss, with sadness. And this is more cups. So maybe perhaps because I have one shell and then the other shell right here. And it appears it's supposed to be like just one shell, but it looks like two on top of each other. It's weird. And so you could be looking at conch shells. You could be looking at pearls. Maybe perhaps you're going through your loved one's jewelry and you're noticing like they have pearls. Mother of pearl could be something of significance, or the seahorse could be a thing for you. Mermaids could be something of meaning for you. But this is about loss and trying to look forward. And maybe perhaps people are challenging your self-love and wanting to move forward and not be sad about things. That is one way to look at it. But also I feel like this could be, like, for example, if you decide you're on the wagon, I'm not drinking anymore and things like that, people could be sad about you removing yourself from that environment because maybe perhaps you were their drinking buddy and now their entire life changed as you change yours. So the Nine of Wands is a little bit feisty. This is like, look, I've been beat up from the street up and I got one more fight left, but don't try me, don't test me. So a little bit of brain fog and some confusion. I feel like even though this person's mad, so you can get upset also. Like, for example, maybe your guys are like trying to communicate with you and you're like, okay, I don't understand that message. I don't get it, such as like signs and synchronicities. And maybe you could be feeling like there's a cold spots in your home where there is a loved one, actually. So some of you guys, your signs and synchronicities, it just reminded me, I had a cold spot in the place that I'm staying at now. And I thought, that's kind of weird because I haven't had that in a long time. But I just recently had a loved one pass. So, might be that as well. But this could be leaving you a little bit in confusion. Have faith. And you are definitely on a spiritual quest, but I can't help but feel that you can feel spirit around you, spirits. And maybe perhaps you're even somebody who is able to see or hear those that have crossed over. You're able to communicate, and even telepathically you can communicate. Maybe perhaps you are looking at like very natural forms of art. Like I saw this one meme and it had this lady with this beautiful, glorious dress, and it was all composed of rocks, and it was just amazing. But so you could be looking at or thinking about getting a new shawl or something, like some form of attire that is spiritual. It's a spiritual article of clothing unique just to you. I personally have been, and I just haven't found like the right thing for me just yet. But we used to call those kitty tails. My son did. So you could be noticing all sorts of things like that, or taking a painting class, or anything similar. But I feel like with the Nine of Cups, there might be a propensity to overindulge in emotions, overindulge in anything. It could be any kind of substance, including food as well. No judgment once again. But I definitely feel like your faith could be on the line with the Nine of Wands, and maybe this is like in need or desire to get clean, a cycle completed. Okay. You could, again, could have had someone who passed away, a loved one, and you are the great illuminator. You are illuminating something about that. And through your mourning, I feel like you're connecting to the other side. Maybe you're passing messages to your loved ones, or that is something that you wish to do. And it gets frustrating for you. And maybe perhaps people are saying, well, you know, they drink too much or whatever, or don't listen to what they say. Yeah. Or that you're a trickster, right? That you're just out to get whatever it is that you want. In this case, the squirrel wants to get the nut. Choose that verbiage as you see fit. But you could be seen as, I feel like part of the gossip in the fight could be that you are a trickster. I don't feel like that's true. Yeah, self-worth. I think that part of these challenges and things like that are so that you can really claim your throne. And it's the one that's been like spirit given and spirit led. And that's where you're headed. You've had to have a lot of fights, many battles. You've had to fight maybe your own passions and your own propensity to want that emotional fulfillment without any validation. Because I feel like right here, all of this ice is stating to me that you have been on very cold ground. So it's not like anybody, you know, has welcomed you with a warm and fuzzies in order to help. I feel like there's been a lot of fighting and rallying against you and riling other people up against you. Yeah, rejection. So you could feel that cold breeze of rejection as well. You could also have been stressed out about like spirit that you've like heard or that you've seen. You can see them in the 3D or in your mind's eye, or you can see them in visions, or you can feel them, or you can see them in reflections. One example I can give you is in my grandfather's house. He had a wife, Lydia, who was unalived, and I didn't really know a lot about that story back then, but when I would go over and stay at his house, I'd be watching TV in the living room, and then I kept seeing like these shadows bouncing off of the television, and then I saw, when I glanced at the kitchen, because it was towards the kitchen, I started looking and I heard like all this racket, like people moving silverware around and cups and glasses and more silverware. And I started realizing that those were not real people in the kitchen. And this happened like every single time that I would go there, honestly. And it really stressed me out because I didn't understand how to deal with it. I didn't comprehend it. There was no one that I could really talk to about it. And many other things happened in that home that, you know, even today, now, I don't feel like I would be comfortable visiting, just to be 100%. So you could be someone who is super sensitive like that. And even the button up of the shirt, this appeared almost like a chain to me. You could be feeling like you don't have any choices, like you're chained to speaking or seeing things on the other side that your average bear does not see. And that could be a terrible burden. And I understand that if that is your story. There's definitely a lot more to this world than simply what you see with the naked eye. And I can't help but think about how people, you know, they say they don't believe or prove it or something like that. And it kind of makes me laugh because I'm like, well, then can you prove that you love your kid, that you love your car, that, you know, I mean, what can you prove? Most of the things like that are unseen are not necessarily provable. And then I see here, that makes sense, is you're headed towards a career change. I feel like you're illuminating a lot of things from the other side. You could be becoming a spiritualist, a world-renowned spiritualist. You could be getting clapped back, pushed back, shoved back, right? Because people don't want to deal with this. They don't want to even admit that maybe you're right about things that you've talked about. And this could be a total career change. I feel like with her, she's definitely kind of like listening. Look, am I lying? No. Spiritual teacher. What do we have here? An author. So maybe you have a book in you, and maybe I thought about writing a book, actually. Maybe I should pursue it. It always comes back to that, but I just think about it, then I'm like, I don't know. I don't even know how to write a book, and it seems kind of intimidating. But with the spiritual teacher, I feel like you have a lot of spiritual lessons. You've been defensive on it, and maybe even angry. I feel like you've been angry about it quite a bit, especially because people don't understand, or they're committed to misunderstanding you, which is a whole different thing, right? Not comprehending, but being committed to not comprehending is a whole different ball game. That is like being surrounded by people that are obtuse, that don't really want to rally behind you and don't want to see you win, which is kind of interesting. This career change can involve spirituality, your spirituality specifically. I mean, it could involve healing, seminars, sessions. You could be even seeing all these signs and synchronicities. I know I love the yin and yang has always drawn itself to me. The lighthouse. Once upon a time, I was really obsessed with lighthouse as well. You could be drawn to lighthouses or lone solitary houses in the middle of nowhere. I've liked a lot of that on some of my feeds because it's fascinating to me. But you could be bringing to light that there is communication to the other side. Maybe you're a channel, a medium. You could be somebody who is going to embark on a journey on how to give messages to people. Now, this, I understand different manner looking at this right now. I know personally, a lot of times I'll have like different spirits come to me and they want to communicate something. Like, for example, once upon a time, a friend from high school passed away, crossed over. And I knew that was an issue, like in my spirit, I knew there was an issue with fidelity there, but that ain't my business. And of course, then later on, I get, communication with him, and he wanted me to tell his wife that, those things that she found didn't mean anything, that she was the only one. And I just felt like, I can't be butting my nose in other people's business. I didn't know the wife, and I just didn't feel comfortable delivering messages that were not necessarily asked for. I don't know. I just had a hard time, and it kind of made me mad. I'm like, don't put me in a position where I have to contact somebody and give them messages that they're not prepared to hear, and I'm not prepared to deliver. So there could be something to do with that. And maybe perhaps part of your journey is even talking about how this has, pursued you your whole life. Like for my whole life, I've been able to see things like that, and it's been very difficult to say the least. Never mind that, people will say that you're crazy or this or that, but it's funny when you're on the money and they get all squirmy and weird around you, and then they want to avoid you. So I'm just going to say that, perhaps this has to do with documenting a dialogue that you have with spirits or entities that want to come towards you. And that would be, a valid thing, communication with a spirit. And this is designed to really elevate you and give you some light and some warmth and some credibility, I heard. I feel like even though you're not searching for that credibility, I feel like you could be defensive, like defending against. You're like, I don't want to do that, which I was there for many years. I'm like, I don't want to mess with any of this. And I did not. And it didn't go away. For me, things did not go away until I actually went on some really hardcore medication to make everything go away. And for me, it was just silent, and I felt numb, and it was weird, but I was happy because I didn't see anything. But and people have asked me, like, how do you know that this isn't like all in your head, or how, basically people like testing you, like, how do you know this isn't in your mind? How do you know you're not crazy and things like that? Well, the only thing you can do is really test. You can test yourself. You can test what it is that you see, what it is that you hear against known facts. And so that's what I have to say about that. Maybe perhaps this journey of yours, this Nine of Wands and this like emotional fulfillment, is really sharing with the world how you overcame these barriers of you even being angry, having to get these messages, or feeling like you had, and refinding, like, how did you find your courage? Because courage isn't like, oh, I'm not scared. Courage is like, you know what? I might be afraid, but I'm going to do it anyways. I'm going to do what's right, and go for it anyways. So this could be writing even a book about how you overcame those challenges. But maybe you're even feeling like other spirits, like sometimes you can feel them giving you a hug, or you could, it just really depends on what level or how sensitive you are. But or you could just see it in your mind, and it's pretty impressive when you get whatever it is that you see validated by people that you don't know. And everything is energy. So energy never dies. It just changes, right? So I feel like this could be something that, yeah, I mean, I even started my whole metaphysical journey, I would say, when I think I was like 4 when my grandfather passed away. And I started gazing into a candle, and I could see my grandfather in the candle. And I thought that that was regular, like everybody did that. But I started just watching him. And then years later, when I started talking about it, I realized it wasn't typical. So I don't know, something about your journey, and it's going to take some courage, but I feel like the world needs, your light. And with this dove right here, you could be seeing doves as well as like tigers and saber-toothed tigers. You could be seeing people wearing like polka dots and noticing that quite a bit. Yeah, your life purpose. But this is your life purpose, I feel. If you guys are resonating with this, please do give me a like, share, comment, subscribe. I feel like you are an incredible light to the world. And it's not over. It's definitely not over. Continue following your passions. You have a lot of willpower in order to make things work. So continue pressing forward, because I feel like you are divinely supported. You could even perhaps rub elbows with another author that helps you make this part of your journey a little bit easier. They can kind of walk you through the process or give you resources so that you could make the process a little bit easier on yourself, if that's something that you are willing to do. And also I'm noticing you could be drawn or attracted to like African attire as well. Some clothing that's exotic, just different, things like that. That could be a thing for you. So that's what I have. Much, much love to you. Until next time, namaste.